Good morning, students. Myself, Dr. Vijender Singh Tawar, Associate Professor in English. Presently, I have been posted at Government College Gudha, in the Jharsuguda district. In the series of video lecture which is being prepared by me for the students of BA Part First, Subject English Literature Paper First. This video contains the critical appreciation of the poem of William Shakespeare composed by William Shakespeare, entitled Shall I Compare Thee? As we know, the poem is a sonnet. So we will do its critical appreciation. Let us now begin. First, about the poet. As we know, William Shakespeare was born in 1564 and died in 1616. He has carved out a niche for himself in English literature. He is the greatest poet and dramatist of English literature. The idea is William Shakespeare has made a permanent place for himself in English literature. He will be read and appreciated as long as English literature is read and appreciated. He has written 37 plays, which include historical plays, tragedies, comedies. That is, some of his plays are historical, such as Richard II, Henry IV. Some are tragedies, such as Macbeth, King Lear, Romeo and Juliet. And there are certain comedies, error of comedies, and another As You Like It. So there are many kinds of plays written by William Shakespeare. He has also written a sonnet sequence consisting of 154 sonnets. These sonnets express the intensity of his feelings. Some of his plays also contain poems which will continue to give pleasure to the readers through all ages. Love and courtship were the traditional subjects of the sonnet, to which Shakespeare added the theme of friendship. The idea is, before William Shakespeare, there were only two themes on which sonnets were composed: love and courtship. Courtship means the affair between a boy and a girl, a lover and beloved, which continues till they take final decision. That is called courtship, in which the lover tried to woo or tried to win the heart of the beloved. That period is known as courtship. So William Shakespeare added the theme of friendship. That is, after William Shakespeare, sonnets were composed on the theme of friendship also. He explored this relationship in his sonnets. Explored means he examined minutely this relationship in his sonnets. While 126 of Shakespeare's 154 sonnets are addressed to his friend and patron, the Earl of Southampton, the 28 of them are addressed to a dark lady. It is said that there was a lady whom William Shakespeare and his friend both liked that lady, and that lady tried to create a rift between the two friends. So there are 28 poems or sonnets were addressed to that lady. In all his works, William Shakespeare exhibits an unequaled power of expression and profound insight into human nature, that he was a great poet of human nature. The poem entitled Shall I Compare Thee is 18th sonnet in the series of 154 sonnets written by English playwright and poet William Shakespeare. It is part of the Fair Youth sequence, which comprises sonnets 1 to 126 in the accepted numbering stemming from the first edition in 1609. That is, he has praised his friend, and that sequence is known as Fair Youth sequence, and they are 1 to 126 sonnets. The poet has immortalized the beauty of his friend, the Earl of Southampton, in this sonnet. Let me make it very clear, when I say beauty, it means spiritual and intellectual qualities of his friend. The poet points out that the fairest and the most resplendent things decay and decline by chance or by the laws of nature. But the beauty of his friend will not suffer the ravages of death. Idea is that every beautiful thing, whether it is created by human being or by God, will lose its charm and beauty with the passage of time, either by accident or natural law. But his friend possesses that beauty which will remain fresh forever. The poet claims that so long as man can breathe or eyes can see, so long as this poem remains in existence, his friend will live in the immortal lines of this sonnet. He will be remembered by the readers of poet. His friend possesses virtues which will remain unaffected with the passage of time and death of his friend. His friend will die physically, but he will live on poetically. His virtues, his qualities will be respected and given honor with the passage of time. In short, this is a sonnet in praise of the friend's beauty. The poet begins his poem with the question, shall I compare thee to a summer's day? That is, the poet is in confusion and he wants, or in confusion he says whether he should compare the beauty of his friend with the beauty of a summer day. Then he proceeds to analyze the different objects of nature and of human world to which he could compare the beauty of his friend. After pondering over the issue, thinking over the issue, the poet does not feel inclined to compare his friend's beauty to the beauty of a summer day. The reason is that it will be only in a negative comparison. His friend is more charming and lovelier than a summer day. He is also more calm and mild. What the idea is that the poet thinks over the qualities of his friend and the qualities of his summer day, and he finds summer day suffers from many defects, but his friend has no defect, so it will not be an adequate comparison. Then he gives us about or lists the defect of the summer's day. Rough winds blow during summers, which rudely shake the beautiful flowers which bloom in the month of May. In a different sense, the fierce winds of summer cause a lot of damage to the beautiful flowers of May. Moreover, summer's life continues only for a short period. On the other hand, poet's friend is neither rude and rough like the winds of the summer, nor short-lived like it. Sometimes the sun shines very hotly during summer and gives pain to the eyes. Instead of pleasure, it gives pain. It is often covered with dark clouds and its brightness is dimmed. There are no such things in his friend's beauty. It is pleasure-giving, it is always clear. Considering these shortcomings, that is defects of a summer day, the poet turns his eyes to other objects with which he could compare the beauty of his friend. But he finds that every beautiful thing of nature and of human world loses its beauty and charm by accident or in course of time. But the beauty of the poet's friend is eternal. Unlike the beauty of other objects, it cannot be eclipsed, as he writes. But thy eternal summer shall not fade, nor lose possession of that fair thou owest. The idea is every beautiful object of the world, either created by man or by God, will lose its beauty, its charm with the passage of time. But his friend will not lose its charm, it is permanent. The beauty of the poet's friend is immortal, it is permanent, it will neither fade nor decline. Unlike the short-lived summer, his friend's beauty is eternal and ever-growing. Means with the passage of time, more and more reader will read about his friend and they will come to know about the qualities of his friend. His friend will never lose charm that he so proudly possesses. It is clear that the poet is referring to the intellectual and spiritual beauty of his friend. Even death will fail to destroy his friend and his beauty. Death cannot boast that the poet's friend walks in its shadow. The poet has immortalized the intellectual and spiritual qualities of his friend by writing poetry in praise of them. His friend's beauty has been portrayed in eternal verse of the poet. So even death will not be able to lay hands on his friend's beauty. His friend's beauty cannot be obscured, dimmed by the time or death. In a different sense, the poet's friend will die physically, but he will continue living poetically. Rather, his beauty will grow on increasing in the times to come. It has become a part of immortal verses of the poet and will live forever. So long as the man can breathe or eyes can see, so long as this poem exists, is read by people, his friend's beauty will be remembered by them. Thus, the friend's beauty is a part of eternal things, as he says. So long as man can breathe or eyes can see, so long lives this, and this gives life to thee. Critical comments. The first is form of the poem. The poem is a sonnet. It is modeled on the pattern of English sonnets with its usual division into three quatrains and a couplet. That is three stanza of 4 lines and one couplet is stanza of 2 lines. The poet expresses his views regarding the beauty of his friend in the quatrains and sums up them in the concluding couplet. Rhythm. The poem is a Shakespearean sonnet. It follows the traditional rhyme scheme of an English sonnet. The rhyme scheme of the poem is A B A B C D C D E F E F G G. Meter. The poem is composed in iambic pentameter. Each line consists of 10 syllables forming 5 feet. The first syllable of each foot is unstressed and the second is stressed. For example, thou art more lovely and more temperate. Second is stressed, means art is stressed, not thou. Diction. The poem displays Shakespeare's command over language and his felicity of phrasing. He has said what he had to say in the fewest possible words. The felicity and aptness of phrases, there's a darling buds of May, eternal summer are notable. Moreover, the language used by the poet is simple and easy to understand. A tribute of love. The poet has paid a glowing tribute of love to his friend's youth and charm. He considers his friend to be better than the beautiful objects and things of nature. He asserts that his poem will exist for all future times and keep his friend's name alive in the world. Love and literature both are made permanent by the poet's imagination. This shows the confidence of the poet and he has made his friend immortal. Images. The poet wishes to immortalize the beauty of his friend. He also thinks that the beauty of his friend is better than the beautiful objects or things of nature. For this purpose, he has used adequate images from the world of nature, but they carry other meanings also. Conclusion. In conclusion, it may be said that The poem is a rich tribute of Shakespeare in verse for his friend. It has spiritual tones as the poet describes his poem as of permanent nature. The strength of his love towards his friend gives credit to this chain. The poem is of inspiring nature. It is certainty of love that brings with it Shakespeare's confidence in the immortality of his verse. The beauty of his friends cannot be obscured, dimmed, or ravaged by time or death. It has been enshrined and immortalized in the poem of the poet, and the poet has achieved his purpose in a masterly manner. The idea is the poet has expressed everything in a very beautiful and effective manner. Thank you very much.